Hello, everyone. Welcome to Every Week We Follow. It's Tuesday. It is a preview of the Go Ahead Eagles game, which is coming up on Thursday. We're buzzing. We've had 5 in a row after beating Spurs on Sunday. I'm very, very honoured and very privileged to have a guest on today, my good friend, Ben Jowett. Welcome, mate. How you doing?
Hi, Gaz. I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm feeling quite privileged to have been invited on, mate. I'm not quite sure what I did to warrant the invite. Hopefully, I can keep James's seat warm.
I think it involved at least 5 points of beer or 6 points of beer at the Guillem Balague book signing, mate, followed by a further few more points on Sunday. No, it wasn't Sunday. It was
Friday. Are you suggesting I'm bribing you with beer, or that you're?
I'm just saying, if for anybody in what would be guests.
I was wondering whether you were talking I was bribing, or whether your judgment was impaired.
No, let's go with the bribe. My judgment's very rarely impaired, mate. It's usually impeccable. So I'm sure you're not going to let me down, mate.
Well, it's a tough act to follow because I watched your review of the Spurs game with Sam from True Adventures, and he's bloody brilliant, mate. Not only has he got the songs, he's got the knowledge to back it all up. He's great.
He won't. You know, I'm a big fan of Sam's. I think he's just a really warm, genuine guy who loves the Villa, and he's real pleasure to talk to. In fact, when we were chatting for about 40 minutes before we even started recording the podcast, and I was like, mate, shit, we haven't even started recording yet.
His coffee Nero must have gone cold.
Yeah. Well, he had a full cup when we started, and then what he showed on the show was actually his empty cup.
At least you know, I watched it now.
So, no, thanks for coming on, Ben. James is sunning himself in Portugal, so, you know, he couldn't be here. But don't worry, people. He is back on Thursday for he's going to be doing the breakdown of this game. So we'll be doing a live reaction on YouTube. And then on that show, we've got a fellow finalicist, Emma, who's a Man City fan, who is coming on to do a review of the Man City game and give us her insight and input into that. So make sure you stay around and tune in for those things. But anyway, let's move on to the Villa. We go into Thursday's game after 5 wins in a row in all competitions. We should be, in my opinion, going into this game as the favourites. I feel.
I think we've got to be, haven't we? It's a decent, definitely top half, if not top, 5 or 6, Premier League side against a Dutch side. I'm not saying that disparagingly to the Dutch league, but the Premier League's got to be stronger, hasn't it?
Well, I think so. And this is no disrespect to the Dutch league, but I can hand on heart say that I'd never heard of this team until when they got drawn. I genuinely thought it was a made-up leisure league kind of.
Mate, totally agree. I was like, who the hell? I remember actually texting, WhatsApping another group, going, is this a real team or is it some kind of crazy sponsored MLS side?
And they got in by Gary Beer. Do you know what I mean? That's what's probably happened. So I don't know a great deal about Ben, but I do believe that you've been on the research route. So
I've done a little bit of. You use some company resources today to get online and try and ease some of my podcast nerves by actually getting well informed.
Yeah, Mate, you're on the wrong show. We don't do that here on Every Week We Follow. We just literally fucking make it up. How dare you have a fact sheet? What are you doing?
I realised, joking aside, I realised that I'm really, really good at ranting in the pub or on WhatsApp about Villa. But then I'm actually facing you on what feels like a Teams call, and I've got to be polite because I'm in a business meeting. It feels alien to me.
Well, you haven't got to be polite, Ben. You're allowed to do and say, no, not whatever you want, right? Because we don't want any hate speech or any misogyny or racism or sexism.
I've got to say, mate, I'm pleased you've brought me on for the go-ahead and not the Maccabi Tel Aviv game because I wouldn't want to go down that political rabbit hole.
No, mate.
James, have your chair back for that one.
Yeah, well, I'm not looking forward to it, mate. I've just done a TikTok live before I came on here with you, and it's already kicking off. There's people all over trying to get to bite, and I'm not going to go to now, but yeah, it's a minefield, mate. And I hope they take the decision out of our hands and just not and cancel the game. If I'm honest, I think at this
point
it'll be safe.
I thought it was until I saw the news last week that said that there's no away fans. I was like, didn't they cancel that game?
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. So, but that's for another day, Ben.
Absolutely, we digress.
Let's get back to the go-ahead Eagles and what they're doing, who they are, where they're from. Are they a made-up team, or do they actually exist?
Well, allegedly, Gary, they do exist. They hail from a city called Deventer. If there's any Dutch watching, excuse the pronunciation. Deventer.
Like, even that sounds made up.
I don't know. It's town in eastern Netherlands. It's got a population of just over 100,000, and they were actually formed in 1902, not as Go Ahead, but as, get this, Be Quick. Now, my company time and resources did not have enough to work out where the hell Be Quick hails from. I'm sorry. But what I could find out is in the 1905-06 season, the Dutch Federation requested they change their name to Go Ahead, or they changed their name anyway, because they entered in the league system at that point, and it was to stop some kind of clash with another similarly named side in the Dutch leagues. Can you imagine having two sides called Be Quick? Beats me. And I understand Go Ahead sort of came from Be Quick because the literal translation meant go ahead or some bollocks like that. I honestly don't know.
Again, am I being totally naive? Is that the same? Is it been lost in translation? Is Go Ahead the Dutch pronunciation, or is it just the translation?
You're looking at the wrong man there. I think that's for one for ChatGPT.
Yes, mate, they get that shit wrong all the time.
Well, yeah. As do you and I. That's why we're doing this.
So fundamentally, they've been around for a while, but where are they now? Where have they come from? Because obviously they're in. I know they're in the top
little
tier,
bit else to tell you on that. So the eagle was actually added in 1971, and the eagle is actually the crest of Deventer city itself.
Okay, well that makes
make sense. But interestingly, they've had a number of British managers. One of which was a chap called Barry Hughes, who's a Welshman, who managed them in 1971, and it was his suggestion.
No way.
True story. And apparently it was to differentiate, because they went pro at that point, to differentiate between the professional side of the club and what remained the amateur sides.
Well, there you go. Ben Stato. Every day is a school day, mate. Every day is a school day.
I've also found out, and again, any Dutch people watching this, please do either tell me in the comments down here, or while you're at it, donate to the whichever way I'm going.
Oh, Ben, do you know what you're doing? You're doing a better job than me, because I always forget to do that.
To the QR code.
I didn't start the show. You can win this football. The QR code is down here. Make sure you hit that. £5 donation to Acorns, right? And you can win this signed football, or Ben's done very well there. And while you're at it, like and subscribe and hit those hype points, whatever that means. It basically means we get more popular, and James and I can earn some more money and buy some new equipment. That's what it means. So do that. Sorry, Ben, but thanks for bringing that.
So as I say, excuse the pronunciation, but they play at a ground called the Adelaarshorst.
The Adelaarshorst.
Yeah, which is translated to the Eagle's Nest.
See, so that makes sense, right? So
that does make sense.
I didn't have time today to go down this much of a rabbit hole, but my burning question in the back of my head is I need to find out their actual pronunciation in Dutch then, because that's clearly, if it's the Eagle's Nest is that, right, then surely Go Ahead or something.
Well, no, I don't think there is a pronunciation in Dutch, because there was something on one of the sites I hit that was talking about them being one of very few football teams that have got an English name in a non-English speaking country. So
there you go.
It's all very odd. So the Eagle's Nest, we'll call it, is a tiny little stadium. It's only got about 10,100 capacity. And by all accounts, it's crammed really tightly into a residential area, and it resembles in that respect and in atmosphere and feel Kenilworth Road. And I saw that on a number of different websites I went to. So
basically, that's not going to be an easy place to go. I assume that's.
I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought so. But it probably going to be better than where England played the other week, where basically the backdrop was a load of trees.
It's like Rowheath Park, mate. I think grounds like that are difficult to play in because the crowd are very close to the pitch. I would have thought then.
I think so. I mean, one when Luton were in the Premier League a couple of seasons back, no one enjoyed a trip to Kenilworth Road, did they? So, I do think it was the ground because it was tiny, probably a bit shabby. I'm not suggesting the Eagles' Nest is. It might be, I don't know. But if we are drawing those comparisons, it does seem to be a huge home advantage, doesn't it?
So, and I guess we're going to look forward to some narrow, tight camera angles of a kind of, like at Kenilworth Road where you just see the top of the roof.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. We will find out on Thursday night. And then they've had a number of notable people. 3 that I think everyone would have heard of would have been Raymond van der Gaal, played for them. Mark Overmars came up through their academy and played for them.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
He was one of the world's best for me, mate. I loved him.
Absolutely. And then Eric Ten Hag took his first professional managerial appointment there in 2013, I believe.
Oh, well, now it's all coming to light.
To be fair, I don't think he did too bad a job at United if you look at what's happened since. I mean, his first season there, I thought he had them sort of turned around, but again, we digress.
Don't get me started. Fucking Man United fans, they're back now because they beat Liverpool on Sunday. Do you know what I mean?
I know. I was like, you bastards. When I switched off from the Villa, I thought we're top half. And then a couple of hours later, I'd gone out, come back here. It's like, what?
I was convinced we were going to be top half as well. I did not see that coming, if I'm honest. But Liverpool are in a poor run of form, which is, I digress. A topic to discuss on a different show.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of their history, a little bit. I don't want to get too stato and boring, but I actually, looking through it, look, there's a lot of parallels with Aston Villa here. They've had a lot of historic success, but have struggled in recent decades. They won the Dutch League 4 times, all of them between 1917 and 1933.
Early success, right? Okay.
Early success. Interestingly, back then, I'm assuming it's because of transport and geography, and we probably had a similar sort of system over here. I've never really researched it, but they had like an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference, and then you won the league by the winner of each conference playing off against the other. So yeah, they won the Eastern Conference and then won the national.
Now you are sounding like an MLS team.
Well, yeah, it's the NFL and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? So, I mean, you can understand it. America's a big country, so
yeah.
Holland's not.
No.
And then they had another sort of purple patch in the 60s. They were regularly in the top 5 of the Eredivisie, although never came higher than 3rd.
Interesting.
In the 60s, 4 cup semi-finals and 1 final, but never won it. I'm thinking this feels a bit like Villa.
Yeah.
And then since that period, they've sort of gone on the slide. They've lacked investment, etc., and they've bounced up and down between the leagues a few times over the decades. Again, I'm thinking about Villa when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then they seem to be in their most recent decade a year behind Villa. They got relegated from the Eredivisie in 2016-17, and we were 2015-16.
2015-16, yeah, we got relegated. I remember.
And then we came back up in 1920, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Or was it 18-19? Anyway, I should know. I got the playoff scarf up here. But
there you go.
Whichever year it was.
Yeah, 1920.
1920, I thought it was. And they came up the season after in 2021. Or another interesting stat about the Dutch league system is when the season after they got relegated, they were in free fall and were likely to have got relegated again. But because of their professional structure there, you cannot get relegated from tier 2 in Holland. in the Netherlands.
Is that still a thing?
Yes, apparently so, and it's potentially saved them from going into free fall because they had got no investment. Again, sort of, I thought Tony's here, you know, and it was all becoming a bit of a car crash.
But the thing is, maybe that's a good thing then, because we in this country need to be looking at models like that to save football teams, because
potentially, yeah. I mean, they do it in rugby. You know, but it's really controversial in rugby. You know, and if you don't have promotion and relegation, because it stops regression, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we've lived on relegation and promotion forever, and I don't think if you were saving teams from relegation just to save them going under, I think there would be absolute uproar, because ultimately, why our leagues are a success is because everyone's got an opportunity to get there, I suppose. But we all know that when you get to a certain level, money takes over. So it's kind of, it doesn't become a level playing field then, does it? So I don't know. It's an interesting debate.
It's a different one. It's a minefield. I can see the pros and cons, but my biggest argument against it, I think, is it scuppers any ambition.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
I mean, if we made the Premier League a closed shop, Birmingham City would be fucked.
Yeah, which wouldn't be a bad thing.
Let's make the Premier League a closed shop.
Mate, it doesn't matter. They're not going to get there anyway. Like, I honestly, like, just again, just on my TikTok live before I got on here, they come out of the woodwork, and I don't even know if they have the audacity to do it. I mean, they lose at home to Hull, right? They're 17th in the Championship, and they're coming on going shit on the Villa after Villa have won their 5th game in a row.
I've just opened myself up to all manner of abuse, haven't I?
Yes, mate. Leave it in the comments, Blues fans.
Without further ado, so how do we end up playing them? Well, last season they came 7th, didn't qualify, but they qualified for winning the Dutch Cup for the first time in their history. Interestingly, they beat AZ Alkmaar, who we played a couple of seasons ago in the Conference League. And they were 1-0 down in the 99th minute and got an equaliser 9 minutes into stoppage time, and then won it on penalties.
Wow. Fair play. So where are they currently in the league in Holland?
I was a bit shocked to see that they're 3rd.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, okay. I don't mean to be massively disrespectful to the Dutch league, but you mentioned it earlier that, you know, I think it's fair to say that it's not in comparison with the Premier League, right? I think, and few leagues are, and mainly because of our league being so competitive throughout. You know, you look at it this year; it's probably the most competitive it's been ever. You know, every team looks capable of beating everybody. It's wide open from top to bottom, really, already. And so,
actually, Gary, I've made a complete balls up. I've wound you up accidentally. That was Alkmaar who were 3rd.
Oh,
apologies all. Anybody who's commented, Ben's a dickhead.
It's good for the camera. You know, it looks good on.
At least I made my mistake.
I did it out and put it as a short.
I confused myself. Go ahead, Eagles are 12th.
That's better.
Yeah.
Look, 12th. Okay, right. So, for me, you would say then that going into this game, again, I didn't think Sunday against Spurs we were brilliant, but I thought second half in particular, I thought it was very professional. I think if we turn up and just put in another similar performance to that should be enough to beat these comfortably. I don't see, you know, the only downside is that it's away from home, in a very hostile, tiny ground. It's when the players turn up and are able to put that professional shift.
Yeah, and it depends how they set up. The positive news is their Swedish striker, Victor Edvardsson, is out, allegedly undergoing knee surgery tomorrow. Now, I've never heard of him. I don't know how good or bad he is, but they haven't got their striker.
Their main striker.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I still think, like, when the draw was announced, you know, I looked at the fixtures that we've got, and I just thought, okay, these first 3 that we've played, Feyenoord was the tough test, right? And we've come through that away, and that was, I thought, probably one of our best performances of the season. Again, wasn't brilliant, and we didn't create a load of chances, but we were clinical in front of goal. And
absolutely.
And it's the same on Sunday. And I've said this to you loads in the pub recently about, well, not recently, over the last 12 months, 2 years, really, that that's been our biggest problem, that we've not been clinical in the final third. We've created lots of chances. Now, well, now we flipped it on the head in the last 5 games. We haven't created a load of chances, but we've scored the ones that we have.
We have our own opinions about that, don't we? I mean, I thought to myself, why are you inviting me on to violently agree with you about how many shots Ollie misses?
We'll get into Watkins in a minute, mate. Don't worry about that. Just, he's scored as many goals as he has collided with the post so far for England. So,
that's very true. And that's my great fear of what I'm going to do later if you have me on the hat-trick quiz.
Yeah. Mate, it's all a bit of fun. But look, you like Ollie, you've got the opportunity to score, mate. And it's whether you take it or not. I'll do
my best. I'll do my best.
We go into the game. For me, it's got to be hot favourites. I fancy us to win this quite comfortably. A 2-0 win, I think, would be ideal. But again, it's away from home, so just don't lose the game.
No, this is it. This is it, isn't it? I tried to work out and looked at some match reports and stuff recently of them. How do they actually look to play? And it looked like they're actually pretty variable, and they vary. It depends who they're up against.
Yeah.
There's a load of reports and info suggesting they play with a low block. So I was going, oh shit. And then there's a load of reports suggesting that they're really happy controlling possession, knocking it about, pulling teams around with a slow build-up. In fact, last season they had the second most goals in the Dutch league with 20 plus passes in the build-up.
Really?
Yeah,
that's interesting because do you know what? It'd be really interesting because you would have thought if I'm them and just sitting 12th in the league and you're playing against the Villa side that have just won 5 in a row. You'd think the low block would be the natural selection to choose.
You would, but they're at home, aren't they? They've got to go for
it. Yeah, well, not necessarily. Do you know what I mean? Again, you got to go. If we go for it, Villa have got the capabilities of absolutely tearing us apart. So, but you're right. Being at home, maybe they will, because the Burnley game is very similar when you've got a team who are, arguably fighting against relegation, who are looking to probably just pick up points on the road, right? You go, I was expecting them to play a low block, and they didn't. They came at us. They tried to attack us. So
mystified me
that mystified me. Now, while they're at home, I would be saying, yeah, look, particularly for the first half, like play the low block, frustrate Villa, and then maybe we can try and play our game. Do you know what I mean? Because if you try and go toe to toe with us, I think we'll have too much for them. I hope they do it. Obviously, that's going to benefit us massively. But if they don't, and they do play that low block, what I want to see, regardless of, and we'll get into our predicting lineups and scores in a bit, but I want to see what we've seen snippets of in the last 3 or 4 games. That tempo, a little bit higher, moving the ball quickly, movement up front, like just to try and create some stuff. Because although we've been better, we've still been really sloppy in possession. The first 15 minutes of that Spurs game, mate, I was shouting at the cap. I was so angry because we were shit. We were giving the ball away so easily. Like we were running into dead ends. There was no real coercion going on. Marlon had nothing. Like I think he had one ball over the top in the first half that he got out-muscled on. But apart from that, it was really frustrating. And the goal, actually, our equalising goal on Sunday, came from a little bit of fortune, really. Rogers
tried to pass it. Again, didn't find his man, but got it back luckily.
Yeah, and
he was good enough, quick feet to get it out, and
but he got better.
I spoke to people that were suggesting that was a poor finish. The keeper dived under it. But I think he got so much dip on that, pace and dip on it.
If you look at
it was in the middle of the goal, I grant you, but
well, yeah, it is in the middle of the goal. But if you look at the strike, it's a Ronaldo strike. Actually, he absolutely knuckleballs it. And while it is in the centre, the loop of the ball, it goes up and down really quickly. I think you've been harsh on the goalkeeper. I think from the angle it looks in, because it's in the middle, maybe he should do better. But I think the pace that it's hit at and the way it's not like a straight shot, so he just can tip it over the bar. The ball's gone up and over. And
I agree.
So I think that's a bit harsh because it's taken away from the strike. But like I say, first half, I'm getting a bit fed up with Villa starting so slowly. We did it against Fulham.
We did it at Fulham, Spurs. And it was last season as well. We how many times did we concede from the first shot we faced?
Yeah. Well, there was at least a handful of games, mate, where we were looked dominant in the first 15, 20 minutes. Well, to be fair, like we just we've been such a yo-yo team this season. Like, because in that game we lost against Crystal Palace, right? First 20 minutes again, I thought we looked okay. We came out, we put them under a bit of pressure, and then we conceded a goal, and heads dropped, and it all just went down. But it's just, hopefully we're in a bit of a better place mentally now. Like I feel that after we went to that event last week and heard Pacquiao talk about that meeting of where Emery's basically said, "Look, either get on board with us or fucking do one." But that's,
I think there's definitely some of that. I think firstly we need to consider the Palace game as a bit of an outlier. They've had our number for some time.
Yeah.
And it fell at the worst possible time. 7 p.m. on a Sunday, the day before transfer deadline day. I mean, it just takes away all your home advantage because no one wants to be there at 7 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, no,
not
agreed,
least the players. And someone who remained nameless clearly didn't want to be there at 7 p.m. on a Sunday. So you know, I think we shouldn't judge Villa by what happened against Palace, although at the time it felt, you know, like this could become an absolutely dreadful season. Oh shit, is this a relegation fight? The end of the Unai Emery era, all that hyperbole. Yeah, he's turned it around, and I think undoubtedly the meeting we've been told about had an effect. But I also think, and I think I mentioned this to you in the car the other day, I just feel that after the Man United game and the way that went, the last game of the season in May, it was such a kick in the nuts for the players, the staff, all involved, you know. And ordinarily, you get the chance to get that out of your system 3 or 4 days later, a week at the most. We've had to wait 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's been the transfer kind of uncertainty that's surrounding the club as well. So I think there's just a huge hangover from all of that. You know, the disappointment. And it's taken them a little bit of time to you know get back on it. And I still don't think we're playing that well, if I'm honest. We're picking up the results, which I'm encouraged by. But yeah, I still think that, are we creating many chances? No, we're just actually finishing them, which we weren't in the...
So the good news about that is that hopefully we see us just get better and better now as the season goes on, right? And
yeah, fingers crossed. I saw a stat on Sunday evening, I think it was. Might have been Monday morning. That our XG, and I hate that metric, by the way, before anyone, but just
but it's a football metric, mate. You're using it in the right context, so it's fine. Go ahead.
Well, true. Our XG is nigh on identical over the 5 wins as it was, when we couldn't score a goal.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I think one was 3.47 and it's now 3.5. And so all it's now telling you is that we're finishing our chances, which we weren't before. We're not creating anymore, which is the worry for me. Now, I felt that being said, I felt in the last 10 minutes after we went 2-1 up the other day at Spurs, we could have probably nabbed another 1 or 2, put the game to bed. The game against Burnley, probably should have been 4 or 5. Yeah. But I am hopeful that at some stage this season, hopefully sooner than later, we'll start putting a couple of sides to the sword. Yeah,
I've no doubt about that. I think it starts with this game on Thursday, mate, if I'm honest. And the reason being because I'm convinced. I think more so since we went to the event last week. Like that, the Europa League is Emery's little project, mate. That he wants, that he absolutely wants. I think it's going to go all that. So while I imagine there will be some changes on Thursday to the lineup, I don't think they're going to be major ones. I think it'll be one.
Well, you're going slightly different to me without any spoilers, but I think he's going to use it.
We'll get into that next, but I think it will be. I think he's going to go at it for the first 50, 60 minutes and try and put him to the sword, and then he may make changes because I think these early this game in particular is one that get the points on the board, get it done. And we're almost qualified. Do you know what I mean? Like, it takes the pressure off a little bit. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm excited for this week because after that, I think I said this to you the other day. I think we've got the hardest run in the Premier League from now until the end of December.
I was looking at those fixtures today. I'll raise you that. I would say I haven't looked at others, but I reckon our run of fixtures to February.
To February?
I can't remember who we're playing in January, but I was like, oh, really? Why?
I mean, it makes no odds because it was always daunting when we were after the first 5 games. I was nervous because you think, shit, we're going to get into that run of games. If we haven't picked up pace, we will be in trouble. But now, win on Thursday, get a decent result against City on Sunday, and momentum starts to build. Like I think City are there. We've got a great record with them at Villa Park. We've got, Liverpool are in a bad run of form, 4 on the bench. Yeah. Like, I know we've got to play them in a couple of weeks, but what I'm saying, they've shown their weaknesses. Liverpool are in defence, and maybe that's not a quick fix. So maybe we're playing these teams at the right time. So if you pick those,
Rodgers is out, isn't he?
And that is the key, mate. Last year he was out, and we played through the middle of them so easily. Rodgers had a field day, so and with Buendia in the form that he's in, we can cause them problems 100%. It's whether we can isolate Haaland, and if Mings isn't fit and Haaland plays against Pau Torres, mate, we are in trouble. Right?
Yeah, no,
that is a separate game. We are talking about the go-ahead Eagles on Thursday.
Sorry, we're talking Villa generally.
I digress, but for Villa generally, and we can get into that, but we'll talk more about that on Thursday's show.
But you're absolutely spot on. I mean, going into it, I mean, I don't think it's any coincidence that our uptick in form coincided with us going into European fixtures. And I just think to some extent it probably took the pressure off. Unai knows Europa like the back of his hand.
Yeah.
And I think it was just the pressure release valve kicking in. And then, you get the result against Bologna. You get the result against who was it?
After Bologna, Fulham.
Feyenoord. And I thought we played really well in Feyenoord.
Yeah. Well, mate, I thought first 15 minutes against Feyenoord we did really well. Then from 25 minutes to half time, they were all over us, and we looked really shaky at the back. There was one we talked about this, and I'll bring it up, which concerns me a little bit. Was our back 4 were in a diagonal line, and I was and Cash, and as good as he's been, like I kept, and I'll stand by this, mate. In every game this season, his positional play sometimes has been awful. He keeps getting dragged into either too narrow and he drops too deep, or he comes in and people play diagonal passes and we get exposed. Now he's got away with it for the most part, but just watch him if he plays on Thursday or Sunday, and just watch his movement, not what he does on the ball, because he's been one of our most consistent performers. But these are only little micro kind of criticisms. But Fulham did it. Right, they scored from the corner and I watched him, and where I sit at Villa Park, we look. It's the edge of the 18-yard line. I get a great view of that kind of movement. And for the Fulham goal, I don't even know why, he just takes 2 steps towards Ezri Konsa, and the moment he does it, the Fulham right back pings a beautiful pass out wide, right, and Cash can't get there.
Do you think he's been told to do it though?
Maybe as cover, but mate, I think it's just risky. If he can't. I'm sure it doesn't make any sense because it exposes our weaknesses. I don't know why Emery would be going, coming narrow when you don't need to, when you've got a fast wide player that you don't want to give time and space to. You want to, maybe he's been told to do it, and I'm sure he is, but I don't want to be too hypercritical, Cash, because the last 2 performances he's put in have been really good. But
I think he's been our most consistent player all season. I mean, I know we've discussed, McGinn carrying the team on his back, and now Buendia coming to form and scoring some goals. But when we were shit for the first 4 or 5 games, I thought Cash was our best player in all of those games.
Yes, but
he might have made the odd mistake that might have cost us a goal. Okay, I hear that. But I think in terms of effort. And in terms of consistency, he wasn't consistently making mistakes that are letting in goals. We all make no player goes through 90 minutes perfect.
No,
and he for me was one of the players that was actually doing his absolute best in those games.
No, and that's why Emery stuck with him, because
and lack of options.
Well, lack of options, but Emery's been. I keep referring back to this, but before that Crystal Palace game, in the post-match notes, he wrote in the program, because obviously this is when Martinez was left out of the squad. I only want players here that are 100% committed to Aston Villa, and you can't argue with that with Cash. But regardless of what you think of him, whether you think he's great or not, he's 100% committed, and he does give his all. And you're absolutely right. I'll agree that he's put in some last-ditch challenge, and he's done some wonderful things. The things I'm bringing up are only there because I'm looking at how do we get to the next level? How do we compete at the next level? And those moments that when you look at what are our weaknesses, those are our weaknesses. And against better teams, he will be exposed. And that's a problem.
I hear you. And that's my main gripe with Watkins is finishing. Is like, he'll score you 15, 16 goals a season, but that's not taking you to the next level.
Well, no, it's not. It's not, and it won't be when we get to the latter part of this season. It cost us last season. Our goal difference was a problem. Big chances missed, and we don't want to be saying the same thing, because surely Emery's plan is year-on-year development, right? Which means year-on-year getting better. And we can only do that with better. Now, this season is what it is. It's a season of consolidation, of trying to get the best out of the players that we've got, which we know by reading that book that Emery's great at doing, man management, getting the best out of players that maybe aren't the best, in what they do, but that team ethic and work rate and fighting for the badge and all that kind of stuff, that's 100%. What we need. And that's what we've started to see in the last 5. So we go into Thursday as, for me, like I say, with as hot favourites.
Put it into context. I think that I hear what you're saying about there was elements of the final game that you were, squeaky bum time at times, maybe. But ultimately, I thought it was actually a pretty professional performance. Certainly,
second half, yes, but like that first half, they should have been 1-0 up. That is perfectly good.
But they weren't. They weren't. And put it into context. Final to 3 points clear at the top of the Dutch league.
Well, absolutely, and so that goes back to if we can play like we did in that second half against Feyenoord and the second half against Spurs, I think we should win this game quite comfortably. But we've got to turn up and do it.
I'll be disappointed if we don't. I 100% will be.
There are no guarantees in Europe about going anywhere and just winning a game. You have to. You take the environment into consideration. The fact that you told me it's like Kenilworth Road, that sounds like it's going to be quite hostile in a small. It's not in a small, tiny place, right? It can have an effect, when you've only got like a handful of Villa fans there. I'm sure they'll be great and noisy.
Especially coming off the back of playing at Spurs. It goes from the best stadium in the world to one of the smallest slightest. I don't want to call it the worst stadium in the world. I'm sure it's not.
We'll just call it the Eagles' Nest, mate.
The Eagles' Nest.
Made out of straw. Do you know what I mean?
Also, just to pick up on what you're saying about the defensive line being askew. Actually, I thought on Sunday against Spurs, our defensive line was spot on. I thought we were playing a high line again. I hadn't seen us play that high line in God knows how long, which I thought was one of our strengths in that 23-24 season when we got Champions League. And all of a sudden we were pressing right up. I lost count of the number of times we caught them offside on Sunday, and they were absolutely cock on every time. So is this something maybe off the back of Feyenoord that they're being drilled? I don't know.
Yeah, quite possibly, mate. I think there's been little bits in each game since that final game that shows improvement. Like we've just, and it's probably been better off the ball. So defensively, we've been a little bit better. In the midfield, we've been okay. Like I felt a bit sorry for Bogard missing out on Sunday.
And without spoilers, I think that's because he's playing on Thursday.
Yeah, quite possibly. I thought Onana looked off the pace a little bit, if I'm honest, right? And
he needs to get him back out there and get
I kind of understand it, like, probably from a physical presence from set pieces and stuff like that. That's why he was used. But he didn't have a great game, Onana, if I'm honest. I thought he was okay. And
I thought he grew into it. He started off pretty poor. I mean, he effectively gave away the goal. Awful pass to Konsa, which then became a corner, and they scored from the corner. But I thought and it looked to me a pass of a player who's ring rusty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he grew into the game.
He needs minutes, and because £50 million, mate, he's got to start. Like, I love him as a person. I love the relationship he's got with the fans. I love the energy he brings. Like, he's probably great to have around the dressing room. But for £50 million, mate, he's got to stop getting injured. Like, he's made he plays 2 or 3 games and he's injured. Like, that's too much money. Like, if he doesn't have a run of games now, right, and he ends up getting injured and go out again, sell him. Sell him in January because
that said, mate, Dina was like that in his first season with us. I lost count the number of times. I actually started calling him the man of glass.
Yeah.
And now look at him.
Well, yeah, it's all about staying fit, though, isn't it? Why are you picking up reoccurring injury of the same sort of injury, though? That's always a worry. And he had it at Everton as well. And I remember when he signed, we had a chat to an Everton fan about it, and he was like, "Look, mate, he's always injured." And you go, "Oh, hopefully he'll be different." And especially when you pay £50 million, you hope that someone's done their research and gone, actually, it's injuries that aren't serious, and it's just
I'm sure when it does, maintain. It always just seems to be a hamstring strain or a calf strain, doesn't it? So it's like, I think those are injuries that you only get properly over after a run of games. He needs 10, 12, 15 games, and then he'll be going again.
So that basically, it'd be interesting to see if he starts on Thursday, mate, for more times, which takes us into our lineups, mate. I'm going to go because you very kindly, basically, we'll go into it. Right? There's our wonderful the lineups. We're going to go back to that one, and then we are over here, and this is your first one, right? So this is what you think Unai is going to select, right?
I've put together two lineups. I've put together what I suspect Unai will play, and then we'll see in a moment what I would like to see.
So talk us through this one then. Unai's likely 11.
First and foremost, putting these together for you yesterday evening, I was like suddenly realised how difficult a chore. Chore's the wrong word. How difficult a task it must be for Unai every match to try and get so many good players into 11.
Yeah,
I had all these ideas, and then I realised that I needed 13 spots. It's like,
I never know. Maybe we could actually win lots of games with 13 players.
So I think Unai will rest players for this game. Okay. I really do. I think there'll be squad rotation. So let's start from the goalkeeper. I think Bizot is a definite. Whether he is named on the team sheet or not, he'll be playing because one he deserves to, and two, Martinez. There's something going on with him in Europe. I didn't think you could be cup tied in Europe, but can you? Is this why he's mysteriously not playing?
It's so odd, mate. I don't think you can. It was very odd. The final game though, he was starting and then he didn't, and he had a calf strain and he was back to the next game. Like, what the fuck? No, it didn't make any sense to me, mate. But but apparently he did have a calf strain. He did post something on his Instagram page where the bruise on the back of his calf. So maybe the thing is, we just never know the truth. We just always reading between the lines.
2 days later, and then he's flying off to Argentina and playing. It's very odd. Anyway. With Bizot in goal, I'm not concerned. I think the guy is a quality number 2. And do you know what? If Debu goes in January, do you know where Debu comes from? By the way,
I do not. No,
right, okay.
I need. You know what? Someone else asked me that the other day, and I was meant to Google it, and I didn't. I'm going to find that
out. Job for another day. Yeah. If he goes in January, having Bizot in goal for the rest of the season will not scare me. What I've seen of him so far, it looks like an accomplished goalkeeper to me. And he's played 4 times and 3 clean sheets.
Yeah. He's 100% like a maximum increase on Robin Olsen. And that's all you can ask for, right? And my only criticism of him is that he comes to punch everything, whereas Martinez usually comes and claims it and takes the pressure off, which I love.
Other than when he sort of fell over underneath one on Sunday.
Well, mate, I don't. Again, I asked this on the podcast yesterday in the Spurs review with Sam that, like, if anyone else watched that, by the way, just let me know in the comments what was going on with Martinez, because he did that 2 or 3 times against Spurs. He got underneath the flight of the ball and just was in no man's land. And if he had fallen to a Spurs player, a couple of times it didn't. I think Entry Konza blocked one, nearly got called for handball, but his hands were up here. And there was one from a throw-in where he just literally threw himself on the floor, but he was nowhere near the ball.
Really bizarre.
Really odd. Really odd.
We're digressing again, but why on earth did we allow the towels for the throw-ins when they got someone who can wang it right in under the crossbar? And we haven't. And we got Torres as our centre half, who's not overly dominant in the air. It's like,
I don't know, but apparently we agreed to that. That's
what I'm saying. Why?
It has to be agreed by both teams, right? I have no idea, mate. Maybe it was Emery's goodwill, knowing that Buendia would come on and score.
Anyway, we digress. So I'm pretty certain Bizot will play, and then across the back line. Well, I don't think we've got any alternative to Cash at right back unless he pushes Lindelof out there, maybe, because I don't think Garcia's fit. So I think Cash plays. I think Lindelof will play for two reasons. One, I think he needs some minutes. And two, I think we've just got to rest Concert. He's the crown jewels and we've got to protect him. Him and Kamara, for me, we cannot afford to get injured this season.
Agreed. Absolutely.
So I'm seeing this as an opportunity to actually squad rotate here. Mings, there is a question mark over whether he's fit or not.
But there is.
But I think if he's fit, he probably plays and we get some miles back in his legs. And
I would like to see him play, mate, because I think I would like to see him play against Haaland if he's fit. I think he can handle Haaland. So
give him a half to get match sharpness again. And then I think certainly given the gash on Digne's ankle, I think Matson's a shoe-in at left back.
Yeah.
So I mean, my formation is loosely a 4-4-2. I think he's going to play very similarly to what he did against Burnley.
Yeah.
So I think Bogard. Again, I think he's going to rest Kamara. I think Bogard will take that role, and then he'll play with Onana there.
I'm intrigued to see that, mate. If that happens, I'd be really intrigued to see how those two operate together, Bogard and Onana.
Yeah.
I don't think they've been paired together yet. That would be the first time they played in central midfield together. So really
absolutely, and I think I've sort of tried to show how I think they'll set up here. So Bogard sitting and Onana given a slightly more advanced role, and then McGinn again will be ostensibly on the right hand side, but he'll be tucked in like he was against Burnley, and then I think Sancho's going to get a run out.
I hope so, mate. I would love to see him get some minutes.
I think he needs to. Although I'm not sure about what all this rumor on Instagram is, and maybe that's a chat for you to have with me off air. But
well, mate, he's just been a bit of a silly boy,
right?
Yeah, and I mean, most people know what it is. We won't go into it here because it's pointless. But he's been a bit silly and posting stuff that he shouldn't do, and I guess it's just true Jadon Sancho kind of prima donna, look at me, I can do what I want kind of stuff.
Really?
Just focus on the football, mate. Because there's a player there, and I think that link up between him and Matson could be a real key link up for us. But he's got to get his head in the game.
Well, he was back on the bench, albeit unused, on Sunday, so that was good to see. And I don't know whether he'd been absent over recent games because of whatever's gone on behind the scenes, if anything has gone, or whether he was genuinely ill. But he was back. Interestingly, I almost put not in Sancho's position, but in probably instead of Onana, I almost put Barkley, and then I suddenly realised he's not even bloody qualified. He's not even registered for Europe.
No, he's not registered, mate.
So
he's
I quickly undid that because I thought I'd look a complete dickhead on your podcast if I haven't already.
No more than we do.
They're third. Mate. Oh, actually, no, they're not. They're 12th.
Yeah.
Wrong club. That's the club we played 2 years ago.
Just put it down to nerves, mate. We all get things wrong, especially on this show.
And then I think he'll, assuming Watkins is fit, and do you know what? We bash Ollie. I thought he was superb for half an hour when he came on Sunday. He ran the channels, he held up the ball, he caused some problems. For me, he did everything but get a goal. But I don't actually remember him having a clear chance on Sunday.
He made one mistake, mate. Buendia played him in a treat over the top. And
he didn't square it. He didn't square it to McGinn.
Sprinted down the middle. He was completely unmarked, and all he had to do was loft it over the defender to him, and he just ended up coming back.
I think that's probably, in fairness to the guy, a more difficult pass than you think. But granted. But otherwise, I thought he looked as good as he's looked all season.
He did run the channels very well, and actually, I think I quite like that. McGinn, Marlon, Watkins.
And I think he will. Marlon, isn't a lone striker, but I don't think he's a wide player either. I think he's a second striker.
Yeah,
and I think we saw that against Burnley, so I'd like to see him play that again. We saw last season that Unai kept on referring to. He wanted to try that with Rashford and Watkins, And then obviously Rashford got injured. But I wonder whether he was thinking about this season, because the rumours flying around in the room on last week were that Rashford was staying if we got Champions League. I thought he never would stay because we just wouldn't be able to cover the wages, etc.
No, I think we would have. We would have been able to make it happen if the Champions League would have been succeed. Which is why it's such a fucking disappointment with how it all came crashing down, mate. I'm not going back to my PTSD moments. Right, let's get on to your other lineup.
So that's what I think he'll play. Subject to injuries.
And let's talk about what you think, what your 11 is.
Yeah, what I would like to say again, I'm rotating a bit. So I'm giving Mings, Bizot, as I said before, plenty plays. Although I've said we've got to protect Konza, he's a Rolls Royce, and I'd like to see him play because I'm not all that on Lindelof. And get some minutes into Mings, then the fullbacks again. I have then dropped Onana because I want to see Elliott play. What I didn't mention on Unai's is I'm probably going to be really wrong, but I just wonder whether he's going to use it as an opportunity to rest Rodgers.
Well, I was about to say the same
thing.
I just don't see that happening. He's the golden boy. He plays every minute.
You're probably right. But again, you can't have him playing 60 games of football again like he did last season.
Mate, I am with you. And looking at that, I mean, I'll let you go through it, but I like that. I would like to see Elliott and Sancho given a chance to play in the same team. I just don't think it will happen, but because again, I think this is almost not a must-win game, but a game that Emery wants to win because of the Europa League and getting the points on the board early. So while I'd love to see Elliott and Sancho in the same team, I think only one of them will get that nod, if I'm honest, if there's a change.
Yeah. I also thought long and hard for both teams about whether McGinn plays. Because again, he should be resting,
Yeah.
And I thought you can't leave out Super John McGinn. He's carrying this team on his back,
so
he plays. So to get the front line I wanted, I had to drop Onana basically from what I think Unai will do to put McGinn back into that sort of number 8 role. And then I'm actually playing what we all really consider Unai to play in a 4-2-3-1.
3-1. Yeah.
I was saying the width will come from the fullback, so then we're going to have Elliott, Buendia, and Buendia. By the way, I could chat about how pleased I am about him, all night long. But I think Elliott, Buendia, and Sancho all floating around interchangeably. Maybe Elliott dropping a bit to support Cash, with Watkins up top on his own. And then Marlon to come off the bench, and maybe we move it around, switch it around a little bit.
Yeah.
However, I've got a horrible feeling he just doesn't fancy Elliott, and I think we'll probably see Elliott unused again.
I agree, mate. I think I think that was a Monchi signing, and I don't think he's going to give him those 10 games to trigger that obligation.
Is it 10 games? Is it
10 games? Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see. Okay, mate. Well, that takes us in then to our predictions. All right. So hopefully you've got a pen and paper, mate. All right.
I have a marker, but
you have a marker.
I'm going to confess, I wrote my prediction down before we started. So.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. No, you can do that, mate.
And nothing I've said or heard has altered that for me, really.
Okay, well, I'm going to write mine down.
Actually, it's just reinforced it.
And out of those two things, I think with those lineups, I'd love to see yours. I just don't see it happening. I think Rodgers and probably Kamara will play at some point in that game.
I think he'll hold Kamara back off the bench. I think he did against either Bologna or Feyenoord, I can't remember. And he did it a couple of times last season. I think he does rest for Kamara.
Well, we'll have to see, mate. Time will tell. We'll find out on Thursday.
What I sort of came away from the Spurs game, I know we're sort of delaying our predictions here, but there's so much quality on that bench, and quality that didn't even get on.
Yeah. I think that's the positive, right? We're only Mings away from having a fully fit squad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's something we haven't had. And I think it's about managing.
And Tielemans.
Oh, sorry, and Tielemans. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. And that is the one thing I will say. Torres, I think, has been critical in this period without Tielemans at progressing the ball through.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Although I
So,
did think he had a bit of a meh game against Spurs. He didn't really do a great deal. But like you say, it's good to have the options, and it's good to kind of have this headache section. We've had that putting two squads together, right?
Yeah.
So, like you say, imagine what Emery's trying to do to fix these in real life. It must be a ball.
Anyway. And then you're trying to balance it with who's going to go again on Sunday.
And to keep that consistency of performance and so it's a tough one, but it's a good headache to have, and I think we're in a really strong position. So I'm looking forward to this week, and hopefully we can start with these predictions. So we're going to hold them up. If you want to go first, Ben, you can hold yours up. Oh, he's gone big. Okay, I've gone 2.
Okay.
2-0. All right. And how about scorers? Who are you going for scorers?
Oh, I hadn't thought that far ahead. I'm trying to remember who I've got in my lineups now.
Do you want to get him back on the screen?
I'm thinking you're probably right. And he'll play Rodgers, and will Rodgers bag another? He's now got a goal. I think Ollie will. I think Ollie might even get a brace. And then maybe a McGinn or a Buendia.
I'm going Buendia and Marlon to score. That's what I would like to see. Marlon to get. I really like Marlon. I think he's got potential of, and if he plays in that role as a second striker rather than isolated up top on his own, which he's not very good at, if I'm honest.
That finish he's got across the keeper from the inside right channel. Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. He just strikes the ball so well, and it's instinctive. I really like what I've seen. So, hopefully he'll get a game. Right, so Ben, it leads us to the final subject. So if you're still here, people, after 56 minutes, that's amazing.
Wow, doesn't time fly?
We come to the best bit, mate, which is this. The hat-trick quiz, Ben. Are you ready?
I'm hoping you'll really give me a sitter, because I'll actually make it difficult, because then if I miss a sitter.
Mate, this is the point of the hat-trick quiz, right? It's kind of starts you in nice and easy, right? It goes a little bit harder, and it goes full throttle, right? And if you don't worry, there's a bonus question, right?
I'm your guest, and we're previewing the Go Ahead Eagles game, please tell me this isn't on Go Ahead Eagles.
Mate, I knew you'd do your research, so there's no way to go Ahead Eagles. Right? No, this is a special European Villa quiz, mate. So obviously we are in Europa League on Thursday. So I thought, right, all the questions are based around Villa's European adventures over the years, and I know you're pretty good. So you'll probably get these. Apart from the hard one, I don't know. I'm intrigued to know if you.
We'll see.
But we'll see. So, let's start with question 1, mate, which is called the tapping. Right, nice, simple one for you to get you nice and easy.
This is where I balloon it over the bar and slide into the post.
No, mate, we're starting you off nice and easy, like a Ollie Watkins penalty under the lights, mate. Like just nice and easy. Right?
Oh, now you're instilling me with confidence. Oh shit.
Probably should have used a different player, like a Tielemans penalty. There you go. Right, so,
okay. That's what he took for us. He missed as well.
Oh, bollocks. No one can take penalties for the Villa. We're fucked.
That's why we need to sign Ivan Toney on loan in Jan.
Just as a penalty taker. Yeah, bring him on for penalties. Yeah, good idea. Okay, then. So the tapping. When Villa won the European Cup in 1982, which German side did they beat in the final?
Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich. There you go. See?
Yes.
1 in, mate. That's right foot finish. That is right. Nice, easy tapping. Okay. Question 2, the curler from the edge of the box, mate. Right, okay. You're on 1-on-1. So when Villa faced Hibernian in the 23-24 Europa Conference League playoff, what was the aggregate score over 2 legs?
Oh, shit. Ollie got a hat-trick up at Hibs, didn't he?
He did. That's correct.
Couldn't you have asked me which player got a hat-trick?
And then we brought them back to Villa Park, and I went to this game. If you're struggling, I can give you a couple of answers what it could be.
Shit! If this is like the not even the Thunder bastard, I'm sort of in my phone a friend. I've got an idea. I just need some reinforcements. If you want to give us a clue.
Okay, so I'll give you 2 options. It was either A, 5-0,
right,
or B, 8-0.
I was going to go 8-0 because I think the first leg was 5-0.
That's correct. It was 8-0 in aggregate. Well done. Yeah, see?
Yes.
Top corner, mate. Okay, so we're on to the Thunderbolter, right? The 40-yard screamer, mate. The John Duran versus Bayern Munich finish, yeah?
Okay.
I think this is a tough question. So if you get this, I'll be really impressed. Right. So Villa won the 1957 FA Cup final, yeah? We won the FA Cup in 1957.
I might look old, mate. I might not have any hair, but geez, I can't remember that far back.
Which European competition did they qualify for?
Was it the Fairs Cup?
Mate, that's a great answer, right? But it's not correct.
Can you rewind and give me the clue? On VAR review.
I can give you a VAR. So I've got a couple of answers written down that you could have chosen from if it was too hard, right? That was one of them. But the other, the other answer will just give you the answer now. So
go on.
So basically, the answer is they didn't. So in 1957, the only European competition going was the European Cup, and actually the Cup Winners' Cup, which would go on to be for Cup Winners, didn't start until 1960.
So you gave me a trick question.
I gave you a trick question. I did.
You bastard.
I just knew you.
You definitely said which European competition did they qualify for?
I did, yeah.
And the answer was they didn't. That's so unfair.
Mate,
that's how I buy you a pint and bribe my way into your podcast.
It's a hard question. Now stop moaning because you've got the bonus VAR special. Now we can go to VAR, okay. Mate. And this is all about the bragging rights, right? And hopefully you'll get this one. Right. In the 1981-82 European Cup semi-final, Villa beat which Belgian side over 2 legs to get to the final?
I think I know. Go and give us the clues.
So you've got a clue. It was either Club Bruges or Anderlecht.
I am going to lock in Club Bruges because that's what I'd have said without a clue. Have I fucked it? Bollocks.
That's it, mate. You've missed the hat-trick chance. It was Anderlecht. Okay, bonus
bonus
point, right? They won 1-0 on aggregate, right? We won 1-0 at Villa Park in the first leg, and we drew 0-0 in the second leg. Who scored our goal?
Oh, fucking hell.
Think back to the 1981-82 winning team.
Well, the obvious one would be Peter With, wouldn't it? But
it's not the obvious one.
Yeah, I think it's too obvious. So now I'm wondering whether it might have been Gary Shaw or Gordon Cowans.
Mate, tough one. I got you. Stumped you. It was Tony Morley. Tony Morley scored the...
Well, I'd have got there. There. I'd have just known the entire fucking side.
So, Ben, you didn't score a hat-trick, which is,
2 out of 5 ain't bad.
2 out of 5 ain't bad. You got a brace, mate, in Europe, and that's not a bad...
That's like Ollie's record, isn't it? 2 out of 5.
That's more than Watkins will ever wish to achieve in Europe, probably. No, hopefully he'll do that on Thursday, mate, and it'll all be good. So that leads us to the end of the show, mate. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting.
Oh, been a pleasure, mate.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I just love chatting Villa, so thanks for coming.
I can tell. So, and it's been a completely different dynamic doing it through a computer rather than in a pub.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to the 2nd of November.
Yes, mate. 2nd of November, the Carrot Brewery, episode 2 with better sound and better beer and better talk. It's going on. I've already. I didn't have a chance today. I was supposed to go and see the people of the Attic Brewery. I'm going to try and go down tomorrow if I can get down in the morning and chat to them. Sam's agreed to perform if we can get it right. So I might
actually come down on the 2nd of November.
Well, not on the 2nd of November. It might be a future episode, maybe towards the end of November, maybe the 30th of November, which would be the next time we do it, right? Or
let me check my diary. Am I around on the 30th of November?
Yeah, just check. And but I might do it as a bit of a charity thing, maybe. I don't know, to try and get some donations on live to get for the ball and for Acorns. So the date's to be confirmed. So I don't know yet. It depends on Sam as well, because Sam was on about he'll try and marry up with a game as well. And I think so. It could even be the week after on the 6th of December when we play Arsenal. So
that might be better for me.
So
I have to talk to the good lady, but I am penciled into being at hers down in Bath on the 30th. And the 6th, I am definitely in Birmingham for.
Well, there you go. Right, so
a rugby club reunion.
But it depends on the attic. So if it doesn't happen, it might be in the new year. But either way, we're going to try and do something that should be fun. So I'm hoping that this can kind of, kickstart it. So the second one's going to, the second episode on the second is going to be hopefully a good one, and we can get that promoted and more people are watching it, and we all good. So, right, that just leaves me to say thank you for tuning in, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that donate button, and give us a $5 for Acorns. And I'll be back with James on Thursday night for the live reaction to the Go Ahead Eagles game. And then we will also have M from Finalysis talking about the Man City preview. I look forward to seeing you then. And as always, every week you've just ruined my.
Sorry, I just wanted to do one last thing, just to remind our fans. It's a 5:45 kickoff for Go Ahead Eagles.
Oh yes, so back from work early, absolutely. Yeah, it's an early one. Oh fuck.
So
I'm supposed to be playing football.
There's probably a lot of people with a similar sort of reaction right now. I'm sorry to cut off the song. You can go again.
No, he's done right. Remember that. I've got to change a few things around if I'm doing a watch along. Shit. Okay, right. I will see you all Thursday regardless. And as always, every week we follow the boys in Claret Blue. Cheers, Ben. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Cheers, Gary. Enjoyed it, mate.
Just stay on. Don't disconnect yet. I'll talk to you in the window.